Americans have student loan debt. The total amount is around $1.3 trillion.
Millennials might have inherited a terrible economic situation.
Millennial generation saddled with debt.
Truly value experiences over material possessions.
Student loan debt, it's a big problem.
Decades of government overspending has left young people with apocalyptic levels of debt.
This group is saddled with massive amounts of debt.
Inherited quite a budget crunch.
Millennials are the next generation of individuals who came after the baby boomers. More so, those born between the early 80s, the 90s, and early 2000s. They are the next generation that will be running the country.
Millennials, the group roughly 18 to 34 years old, will overtake baby boomers as the largest living generation in the country.
Millennials are looked down upon due to the way we handle our expenses and the values we hold.
Every generation likes to talk about how the generation below them is not going to be as active as they are. These stereotypes that exist, that if you didn't act the way I did when I was growing up or participate in a certain way, it means that you're not participating at a level in which that I did.
We are the generation who has to not only overcome the economic debt that we have found ourselves in, but also the student debt that those who attend school face.
Understand why millennials might be putting off things like marriage or buying a house or a car, why they're not into the stock market, why a lot of them are living at home. Turns out student loan debt, it's a big problem.
Sign this piece of paper and you can have all this money, and for young people they're just going, oh, okay, well I can go to school and I can just sign right here and they'll just pay for everything, not really understanding that they may come out with 50, 60, $70,000 worth of debt.
The average student debt is growing immensely, and it does not look like it's stopping anytime soon. What people don't realize is that the debt does not only affect students who have gained the debt, but this also affects the lives of the people who are included in the economy. If we don't do something now, it'll become a slippery slope effect and be catastrophic for the nation.
In addition, students are graduating from college with more debt than ever, up nearly 50% from 2004. Young people are unable to save. Businesses suffer because fewer people have money to spend. So, you see, increased personal debt slows economic growth on the national level. The less money people have, the less they spend and invest. This, in turn, puts greater strain on the national debt.
Millennials' contribution is the most important thing right now. The other generations are starting to retire or have been retiring.
Students get into a large amount of debt is because they don't understand, and their parents don't understand.
Millennial in their early 20s has about $13,000 in debt. By their late 20s, that figure nearly triples to $47,000. And the overall debt load for older millennials in their early 30s jumps to almost $70,000.
Millennials are having to face massive amounts of debt. They aren't able to get rid of this debt because they are being paid less than previous generations. Even with the degree, they are having a harder time trying to find a job.
The unemployment rate among 16 to 24-year-olds is double that of all other age groups.
College tuition has gone up 234% over the last 20-some-odd years. 31% of millennials today graduate with debt versus 46% 20 years ago.
Graduate in a recession not only earn less at their first job, but they still lag behind 5, 10, even 15 years.
Credit cards, student loans, mortgages, and car payments. Today's millennials have more debt than ever, and studies show that there can be a long-term health effect on the stress this causes. Those problems can be identified as the anxiety of constantly being worried about paying off those loans, being more prone to overall debt because they don't have money to begin with, and those who are struggling to pay off their debt have been found to be twice as likely to experience depression, 2/3 of millennials aged 23 to 35 have at least one source of long-term debt, while 1/3 have more than one source. New policies need to be implemented relating to education. We also need new policies that involve cutting down student loans.
And other priorities for young people are underrepresented on Capitol Hill. Spending goes to programs that benefit older generations.
10 years ago, student loan debt accounted for about 13% of total debt for young adults ages 20 to 29. By the end of last year, it had jumped to 37% for that age group. Student loan debt is not only a growing problem among millennials, but steadily increasing for borrowers of all ages. The numbers are staggering and can have serious repercussions for the entire U.S. economy.
Our national debt is approaching $20 trillion. We're all affected by the economy, so we need to work together in order to get rid of our debt.
The national debt affects everyone, young, old, rich, poor, so there's room for all of us to get involved.
Solutions to this problem include lowering the cost of education, meaning lowering the price of tuition, in addition to also raising the minimum and starting wages, and lastly, providing government assistance. Creating a more accessible education can lead to higher paying jobs and disposable income for young Americans, while also constantly stimulating our economy with the newer generation of Americans as older Americans' contributions shrink due to their retirement. I am a millennial. We are the future. We must overcome this deficit so that one day we can look back and be able to say we all did that. Put ourselves in the books to be known as more than just a generation who took selfies, went on rants, and broke the economy because we were so self-centered. Let's break this stereotype and recover from this debt that has been left upon us.
National debt is a manageable problem, but the youth need to get involved and do their part. If we don't make changes soon, there will be severe problems in the years to come.
That's all, folks.